as an unperfect actor on the stage, who with his fear is put beside his part, or some fierce thing replete with too much rage, whose strength's abundance weakens his own heart. So I, for fear of trust, forget to say the perfect ceremony of love's rite. And in mine own love's strength seem to decay, or charged with burden of mine own love's might. Oh, let my books. No. Oh, let my looks be then the eloquence and dumb presagers of my speaking breast, who plead for love and long for recompense more than that tongue that more hath more expressed. Oh, learn to read what silent love hath writ. To hear with eyes belongs to love's fine wit.
I cannot, by the passage of the stars, give guess to when day is near. Bring a taper to my study, Lucius. It must be by his death. And for my part, I know no personal reason, but for the general. He would be crowned. How that may change his nature, there's the question. It is a bright day that brings forth the adder, and that craves wary walking. Crown him that, and then I grant we put a sting in him that at his will he may do danger with. The abuse of greatness is when it disjoins remorse from power. And to speak truth of Caesar, I have never known his affections to be swayed more than his reason. 'Tis common proof that lowliness is the young ambition's ladder whereto the climber upwards turns his face. But when he once attains the upmost round, he then unto the ladder turns his back, looks into a cloud, scorning the base degrees from which he did ascend. So Caesar may, and therefore think of him as a serpent's egg when hatched, which, as is his kind, grows mischievous. And kill him in the shell. Is not tomorrow the Ides of March? shall Rome stand under the awe of one man?
If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. You all do know this mantle. I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. It was on a summer's evening in his tent. That day he overcame the nervii. Look. In this place ran Cassius' dagger through. See what a rent the envious Casca made. Through this the well-beloved Brutus stabbed. And as he plucked his cursed steel away, mark how the blood of Caesar followed it, as if rushing out of doors to be resolved, if Brutus so unkindly knocked, or no. For Brutus, as you know, was Caesar's angel. Judge, O you gods, how dearly Caesar loved him. This was the most unkindest cut of all, for when the noble Caesar saw him stab, ingratitude more strong than traitors' arms quite vanquished him, then burst his mighty heart, and in his mantle, muffling up his face even at the base of Pompey's statue, which all the while ran blood, great Caesar fell. Oh, what a fall was there, my countrymen. Then you and I and all of us fell down, whilst bloody treason flourished over us. Oh, now you weep, and I perceive you feel the dint of pity. These are gracious drops, kind souls. What? Weep you when you but behold our Caesar's vesture wounded? Look you here! Here is himself, marred as you see, with traitors. With traitors!
Hard to seem one, but I was one, my lord, with the very first glance that ever... Pardon me, if I confess much, you will play the tyrant. I love you now, but not till now so much, but I might master it. In faith I lie. My thoughts were like unbridled children grown too headstrong for their mother. See, we fools! Why have I blabbed? Who will be true to us when we are so in secret to ourselves? For though I loved you well, I wooed you not. And yet, good faith, I wished myself a man. Or that we women had men's privilege of speaking first. Sweet, bid me hold my tongue, or in this rapture I shall surely speak the thing I shall repent. See? See, your silence, cunning and dumbness, from my weakness draws my very soul of counsel. Stop my mouth.
Are you meditating on virginity? 'tis not politic in the commonwealth of nature to preserve virginity. Loss of virginity is rational increase. And there never was a virgin got till virginity was first lost. That you are made of is metal to make virgins. By being once lost, virginity may be 10 times found, but by being ever kept, 'tis ever lost. 'Tis too cold a companion. Out with it. There's little can be said in it. It's against the rule of nature. To speak on behalf of virginity is to accuse your mothers, which is most infallible disobedience. He that hangs himself is a virgin. Virginity murders itself and should be buried in highways out of all sanctified limits as a desperate offendress against nature. Virginity breeds might, much like a cheese. Consumes itself to the very pairing, and so dies with feeding its own stomach. Besides, virginity is peevish, proud, idle, made of self-love, which is the most inhibited sin of the canon. Keep it not. You cannot choose but lose by it. Out with it. Within 10 years, it will make itself 10. And the principle itself, not much the worse. Out with it. Virginity, like an old courtier, wears a cap out of fashion. Richly suited, but unsuitable. Like the brooch or the toothpick, which we're not now. Your date is better in your pie than your porridge than your cheek. And your virginity, your old virginity, is like one of our French withered pears. It looks ill, it eats dryly. Marry it. 'Tis a withered pear. It was formerly better. Marry it. 'Tis a withered pear. Will you anything by it?
They bore him barefaced on the bier. Hey, nonny, nonny. Hey, nonny. Hey, nonny. Nonny. Nonny, hey, nonny. Hey, nonny. And in his grave rained many a tear. Fare you well, my dove. Oh, you must sing. Down, 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 and you call him a down, hey, 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 a down, call him a down, hey, a down, call him a down, hey, a down, call him a down, hey, down, call him a down. Oh, how the wheel becomes it. It is the false steward that stole his master's daughter. There's rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray you, love, remember. And that's pansies. That's for thoughts. There's fennel for you. Hello? And columbines. There's rue for you. And here is some for me. We may call it a herb of grace or Sundays. Oh, you must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets. But they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end. Good end. For bonny sweet Robin is all my joy. And will he not come again? And will he not come again? No. No. He's dead. Go to thy deathbed. He never will come again. He never will come again. His beard was as white as snow. All flaxen was his poll. He is gone. He is gone. And we cast away moan. God have mercy on his soul. And of all Christian souls, I pray God. God be with you. God have mercy on his soul.
Have I not reason, think you, to look pale? These two have ticed me hither to this place. A barren, detested vale. You see it is. The trees, though summer, yet forlorn, lean, o'ercome with moss and baleful mistletoe. Here never shines the sun. Here nothing breathes. Unless the nightly owl or fatal raven. And when they showed me this abhorred pit, they told me here, at dead the time of night, 1,000 fiends, 1,000 hissing snakes, 10,000 swelling toads, as many urchins would make the most fearful and confused cries, as any mortal body hearing it would straight fall mad, or else die suddenly. And as soon as they had told this hellish tale, they straightway told me they would bind me here unto the body of a dismal ewe, and leave me to this miserable death. And then they called me foul adulteress, lascivious Goth, and many of the bitterest terms that ever ear could hear to such effect. And had not you, by wondrous fortune, come, this vengeance on me would they have executed. Revenge it! As you love your mother's life. Or be ye not henceforth called my children?
Senor Antonio, many a time, and oft, in the Rialto, you have raided me about my monies and my usances. Still, have I borne it with a patient shrug, for sufferance is the badge of all our tribe. You call me misbeliever, cutthroat dog, and spit upon my Jewish gabardine. And all for use of that which is mine own. Well then, it now appears you need my help. Go to then. You come to me and you say, Shylock, we would have monies. You say so. You that did void your room upon my beard and fought me as you spurn a stranger cur over your threshold. Monies is your suit? What should I say to you? Should I not say, hath a dog money? Is it possible a cur can lend 3,000 ducats? Or shall I bend low and in a bondman's key with bated breath and whispering humbleness say this? You spit on me on Wednesday last. You spurned me such a day. Another time you called me dog, and for these courtesies I'll lend you thus much monies.
All the days of the year, come Lammas Eve at night, shall she be 14? Susan and she were of an age, God bless all Christian souls. Well, Susan is with God. She was too good for me. But as I said, come Lammas Eve at night, shall she be 14. Oh, that she shall marry. I remember it well. 'Tis since the earthquake, now 11 years. And she was weaned of all the days of the year upon that day. For I had then lain wormwood to my dug, sitting, in the sun under the dove-house wall, when it tasted the wormwood upon the nipple of my dug and felt it bitter. Oh, pretty wretch! To see it tetchy and fall out with the dug. Shake, quoth the dove-house, no need I trow to bid me trudge. And since that day, 'tis 11 years, for then she could stand alone. Nay, by the rood, she could run and waddle all about, for even the day before she broke her brow, and my husband, God be with his soul, he was a merry man, took up the child. Yea, quoth he, dost thou fall upon thy face? Thou wilt fall backwards when thou hast more weight. Wilt thou not, Jules? And by my holy dame, the pretty wretch left off crying and said, to see now how a jest should come about. I warrant I should live 1,000 years and never shall forget. Wilt thou not, Jules? And pretty fool, she stinted and said, I. And yet I warrant it had upon its brow a lump as big as a young cockerel stone. A perilous knock. And she cried, bitterly. Yea, quoth he, dost thou fall upon thy face? Thou wilt fall backwards when thou hast more weight. Wilt thou not, Jules? And pretty fool, it stinted and said, Aye. Thou wast, the prettiest babe that e'er I nursed. That I should live to see thee married once. I have my wish. Romeo, wherefore thou, Romeo, deny thy father and ignore thy name?
Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I will no longer be a Capulet. It is but your name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's a Montague? Tis not a hand, nor foot, no arm, no face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose, by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain his dear perfection which he owes without that title. Oh, Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name, which is no part of thee, take all myself.
And I, forsooth, in love? I, that have been love's whip, a very beetle to a harmonious sigh? A critic, nay, a night watch constable, a domineering pedant o'er the boy, than whom no mortal so magnificent, the senior, junior, giant, dwarf, Dan Cupid, regent of love rhymes, lord of folded arms, the anointed sovereign of sighs and groans, liege of all loiterers and malcontents, dread prince of plackets, king of codpieces, sole imperator and great general of Trotten parators, oh, my little heart, and I to be a corporal of Cupid's field and wear his colors like a tumbler's hoop? What? I love. I sue. I seek a wife. A woman that is like a German clock. Still a repairing, ever out of frame, and never going aright, being a watch. But being watched that she may still go right. And I, to sue for her, to pray for her, to watch for her, that it may still go right. Nay, to be perjured, which is worst of all. And among three, to love the worst of all. A whitely wanton with a velvet brow, with two pitchballs stuck in her eye, stuck in her face for eyes. Aye, and by heaven, one that will do the deed, though Argus be her eunuch and her guard. And I, to sigh for her, to watch for her, to pray for her, go to. It is a plague that Cupid will impose for my neglect of his almighty, dreadful little might. Well, I will love, write, sigh, pray, sue and groan. Some men must love my lady, and some Joan.
M-O-A-I. Moi? Moi? May? Maui? This simulation is not as the former, and yet, to crush this a little, it would bow to me, for all of these letters are in my name. Soft. Here follows prose. If this fall into thy hand, revolve. In my stars, I am above thee. But be not afraid of greatness, for some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Thy fates open their hands. Let blood and spirit embrace them, and to injure thyself to what thou art like to be. Cast thy humble sloth and appear fresh. Be opposite with a kinsman, surly with servants. Let thy tongue tang arguments of state. Put thyself into thy trick of singularity. Oh, she thus advises thee, but sighs for thee. Let thy fates open their hand, let blood and spirit embrace them, to injure thyself, cast thy humble self, be opposite with him, let put thyself, she does advise thee. Remember, who commended thy yellow stockings, and wished to see thee ever cross-gartered? Oh, I say, go to. Thou art made, if thou desirest to be so. If not, let me see thee ever a steward, the fellow of servants, and not worthy to touch fortune's fingers. Farewell. She that would alter services with thee, the fortunate unhappy. My lady loves me. Jove and the stars be praised. Soft, there is yet a postscript. Though thou canst not choose but know who I am, if thou entertainest my love, let it appear in thy smiling. Thy smiles become thee well. Therefore, in my presence, still smile, dear my sweet, for thee. Jove, I thank thee. I will smile. I will do everything thou wilt have of me.
Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention. A kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, generals all, the flat, unraised spirits that have dared upon this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vastly fields of France, or may we all cram within the wooden O, the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon since a crooked figure may attest in little place 1,000,000. And let us, ciphers, to this great accopt when your imaginary forces work.
She-wolf of France, but worse than wolves of France whose tongue more poisons than the adder's tooth. How ill-beseeming is it in thy sex to triumph like an Amazonian trull upon their woes whose fortune captivates. But that thy face is vizard-like, unchanging, made impudent with use of evil deeds, I would essay, proud queen, to make thee blush. 'Tis beauty that doth oft make women proud, but God, he knows, thy share thereof is small. 'Tis virtue that doth make them most admired, the contrary doth make thee wondered at. 'Tis government that makes them seem divine, the want thereof makes thee abominable! O tiger's heart wrapped in a woman's hide! How couldst thou drain the lifeblood of the child to bid the father wipe his eyes withal, and yet be seen to bear a woman's face? Women are soft, mild, pitiful, and flexible. Thou, stern, obdurate, flinty, rough, remorseless. Ow! Bidst thou me rage? Why, now thou hast thy wish. Wouldst have me weep? Why, now thou hast thy will. These tears are my poor Rutland's obsequies, and every drop cries vengeance for his death. 'Gainst thee fell Clifford, and thee, false French woman.
We are glad the Dauphin is so pleasant with us. His present and your pains we thank you for. When we have marched our rackets to these balls, we will, in France, by God's grace, play a set shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. Tell him he had made a match with such a wrangler that all the courts of France will be disturbed with chases. And we understand him well. How he comes over us with our wilder days, not measuring what use we made of them. We never valued this poor seat of England, and therefore, living hence did give ourselves to barbarous license, as 'tis ever common that men are merriest when they are from home. But, ta the dauphin. I will keep my state, be like a king, and show my sail of greatness when I do rouse me in the throne of France. For that I have laid by my majesty and plodded like a man for working days, what I will rise there with so full a glory that I will dazzle all the eyes of France, yet strike the dauphin blind to look on us. And tell the pleasant prince, this mock of his hath turned his balls to gunstones, and his soul shall stand sore charged for the wasteful vengeance that shall fly with them. For many 1,000 widows shall this his mock out of their dear husbands, mock mothers from their sons, mock castles down in summer yet ungotten and unborn that shall have cause to curse the dauphin's scorn. But this lies all within the will of God, to whom I do appeal, and in whose name tell you the dauphin I am coming on to avenge me as I may, and to put forth my rightful hand in a well-hallowed cause. So get you hence in peace, and tell the dauphin his jest will savor but of shallow wit, when thousands weep more than did laugh at it. Convey them with safe conduct. Fare you well.
No matter where, of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms, of epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills, yet not so. For what can we bequeath save our deposed bodies to the ground? Our lands, our lives, are all our Bolingbroke's, and nothing can we call our own save death, and that small model of the barren earth that serves as paste and cover to our bones. For God's sake, let's sit upon the ground and tell sad tales of the death of kings. For some have been deposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed. some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court. And there the antic sits, scoffing his state, grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a scene, to monarchize, be feared, and killed with looks, infusing him with vain and self-conceit, as if this flesh, which walls about our lives, were brass, impregnable, and, humoured thus, comes at last with a little pin and bores through the castle wall. And farewell, King. Cover your heads and mock not flesh and blood with solemn reverence. Throw away respect, tradition, forms, ceremonious duty. For you have mistook me all this while. I live with bread like you. Feel want, taste grief, need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am a king?
Thank you.
Thou nature art my goddess. To thy laws my services are bound. Wherefore should I stand in the plague of custom and permit the curiosity of nations to deprive me, for that I am some 12 to 14 moonshines lag of a brother? Why bastard? Wherefore base? When my dimensions are as well compact, my mind as generous, and my shape as true as honest madam's issue. Why brand they us with base, with baseness, bastardy, base, who in the lusty stealth of nature take more composition and fierce quality than doth within a dull, stale, tired bed go to creating a whole tribe of fops got tween sleep and wake? Well then, legitimate Edgar, I must have your land. Our father's love is with the bastard Edmund as to the legitimate. Fine word. Legitimate. Well, my legitimate. If this letter speed and my invention thrive, Edmund the Base shall top the legitimate. I grow. I prosper. Now, gods, stand up for bastards. Woo!
That is
the ghost. But don't ride, don't get tied to one, Gillian. Thank you all so much for coming. That was so much fun. See, it's good in the winter when it's cold as opposed to sweating in Bloomfield Gardens. Hey, it's another experience. If you want to support the work we do, you are welcome to give a donation to Theater in the Rough. Obviously in person, I'm happy to accept. Thank you so much. or online at theaterintherough.co.il. Shabbat shalom.
Rain held out.